Okay, so this is the 3 bead consistency sheet that I'm going to be walking everybody through really quickly. I've shot a couple of videos, and so first of all, when you print out this piece of paper that the PDF file is on, I put it inside a plastic protective sheet. I use a buffer somewhere from 100 to 180 grit, and go ahead and just buff the shine surface. This allows the plastic to adhere a little bit better, you know, so it's not slipping everywhere, okay? So I'm using a pink powder. This pink powder is a little darker, so that way it makes it easy for me to see as I'm working. Some people think, well, it's so much easier to do it on a tip or to do it, well, of course, you know, I mean, it's all laid out for you. But if you're wanting to be really good at sculpting acrylic, you need to know how to pretty much sculpt on any flat surface. If you can sculpt a nice bead that has a nice rise and a nice fall in 3 strokes and keep it nice and smooth, not going beyond borders, you're doing pretty good. And believe me, I know it doesn't seem probable, but it will translate to tips and even to a real nail. Okay, so this sheet, this is probably one of the most important lessons that we have, is the 3 bead practice consistency sheet. And the reason is it really trains your hand to pick up beads, blend the beads, shape the nail without any sort of crutch like a tip or, you know, the boundaries of a form. Because when you start working with forms and you on a real person's nail, that's when it's going to get a little dicey, and you're going to see a lot of the problems that you had on this paper translate over, okay? Tips, which are known as express service nails, they're a crutch, so they're obviously going to provide you a crutch. But to truly sculpt professional nails, you're going to be using, we're going to move on to sculpting. But I'm going to show you how this sheet's going to help you no matter how you sculpt, whether you use tips or freestyle using forms. So first off, you know, again, once you finish that single bead one, we're moving to 3 beads. All right, I'm going to start here. I hope you can see. I'm going to dip my brush and get a nice bead, okay? And for this exercise, I'm placing right here in zone 2, which is the apex stress zone, okay? Now, Anastasia in her video, she has it set up a little differently how she shapes, and that's fine. Everybody can shape it differently, but we're just pulling this out to the free edge, okay? I'm going to wipe my brush, and I'm going to shape, 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 shape. I have some other videos I'd like to share, but I have to figure out how to upload them. But we're sculpting in this manner. We're shaping, we're angling our brush in this manner. When you're working on a real nail, you're going to be doing this kind of thing as you work through and push that product down the free edge. All right? So we're just, and again, you're not holding the brush like this, like you would on a tip or a finger. You're kind of angle it this way so it lies flat and then angle. So it's a little bit of a you know, workaround, okay? Stay within the boundaries, because once you go beyond those boundaries, imagine what it would be like if you went past that boundary on their actual nail. It would bleed over into the sidewall, right? And we don't want that. I've got more product on this side than I do this side, so what do? I'm going to pat, and kind of, I mean, it looks like I'm pushing, but I'm really not. It's just a gentle move this way, so that way I even that product out. And I shape it. I keep it within the borders. Shape, shape. All right? Easy enough. Now that's 1 bead. So we're going to do a second one. I'm going to clean my brush up, dip it back in the monomer, take some of the excess off. I'm going to dip in here. All right? And I'm going to step right here and see how that nice clean bead, see how clean the brush is? It's perfect, right? And I'm just going to press. Not press hard, it's very gentle, and blend. You can even come this way and just press, just very lightly. Okay? And again, line up those sides, keep nice sidewalls, and angle that brush. You know how they say the sidewalls need to be nice, not so much product, not thick. shaping it, doing this kind of motion to your brush will help, right? Because even on a natural nail, people say, well, it's so much easier to do this on a real nail. Well, sure, okay, yeah, you know, but the way you're sculpting, the way you're shaping your acrylic is the same. So if you're making mistakes on this piece of paper, it's going to show on that natural nail. It might be easier because, like, say on a tip, you have this 3D surface. So yes, it is a little easier, but you're going to run into challenges on nails where the kind of challenges you have here on this paper are going to come through, right? You're going to face the same ones. I need more product on here. Okay. So when I see some students I'm seeing doing this exercise, you're not shaping the nail. You're just kind of like putting 3 beads down. I need you guys to shape that nail. Okay, again, I'm missing some product here a little bit, and I could have used another bead here. So if I laid down plastic like that on a tip or a real nail, you may not be able to see it, but it would be there. Okay, I'm going to start up here. Right here in the zone 2, stress zone. I'm going to wipe my brush, any excess off, okay? Nice clean brush. And see how it polymerizes? It's not too wet, it's not too dry, it's perfect, right? This is part of the exercise. Just like with that single bead, only this one you're sculpting it, right? Instead of just lying that bead and kind of like making a perfect little single dot. Okay, I'm going to shape that free edge. I want a nice free edge, right? And I know in the video it looks like I'm pressing really hard, but I'm actually not. When you're working with a real nail, you would be kind of sculpting it and blending it into the cuticle area, but you would be really careful not to get it into the cuticle underneath that nail, because that's where it's going to lift. You either won't have enough or you'll have too much, or you'll have a bleed off. Okay, so when we're doing this exercise, you know, another thing is, I know in previous lessons, I had students, you know, they're not filling up the whole page. But in order to really get good with acrylics, practice. So I need you to fill up the whole page. It's also really good to mark your pages. So like I have a date that I put here, and this was a daily practice. This is a date. So I know that this is when I did this. You can also put attempt 1. So then it's your side views. And this is a lot of what we're missing too. Right here, let me show you the first one I did. All right, if I can point, let's see. Let me see if I can get that right so you guys can see. Okay, so here, this is a nice, perfect lift up. See how that nail right here, it lifts up really nice. So let me see if I can show it this way. Okay, so it's lifting up very nicely here. It's coming up from the cuticle area and leveling out. It's not bumpy. There's no missing product anywhere. There's no gaps or bumps. It's smooth, right? And from the top view, it has these very crisp, defined walls, right? Because that's where I was shaping it. I was sculpting that nail, right? And it's the same kind of strategy you do on a real nail. Here, it's the same thing. We want to look both sides because both side views can look a little different, especially if you're working on a 3D nail where one side can like tilt differently than the other. See how nice and smooth that is. Nice rise and even out, okay? Now let's look at the nail I just did before, right? Look at the difference, the huge difference, because I want you to see the mistake. Because if you can see mistakes, you can see where, you know, for you not to go wrong. Now, as you can see, it's a pretty decent crescendo up, but there's this little gap here, and then there's this huge cliff. Now, that's where that gap is for that missing product that you can actually see on top view. See how it's darker on one side, how it's darker right here, but not on here. And you can see a gap right there where it should be nice and smoothed out, okay? I'm gonna go this way. All right, so when you're working on the sheet, this is what, you know, we're looking for. When you get to level 2, which is really great, we're going to work on this assignment again, but it's doing a 3 bead French. And believe me, that'll really, that's a very challenging assignment. And I actually find, I always fall back on these sheets, okay? Even if you've done acrylic for many years, this sheet is great if you're working, if you want to like train your other hand and be ambidextrous. This is a good way to start, okay? So again, nice, smooth. This one I was able to do in 2 beads, but 3 beads once you get to the bigger nails. It also teaches you, like, so you're going to pick up a different size bead for this one than you would this one. When you get to the bigger nails down here, you're going to pick up a much bigger bead, right? So I'm going to dip in my brush, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm picking up a much larger bead, and then I'm placing it right onto. This is a little bit of a dry bead, right? So I'm going to clean my brush, wet my brush again. Not too wet, right? Just, you know, just to get it cleaned up with a little bit of monomer. And then go ahead and work on that zone 2 area, that apex. And here I'm just spreading it out to cover the nail. And I'm pushing it out to the free edge. Okay? And then on here, I'm pressing down into the nail very gently. Okay? But it's very muddy on these sidewalls. I want to create a nice, crisp sidewall. And when you're working with a real nail, you would be doing the same. You would be, you know, really getting a nice, crisp, you know, clean sidewall. It's the same. I know you guys think, well, it's totally different. Well, no, actually, it's the same. And smooth it. Blend, okay? Now I'm going to dip my brush back in. I'm going to get another big bead, okay? Collect a nice big bead. Put back here. Okay? I'm going to blend. I'm having more product on this side than this side, so how do I even that out? How do I even that out? Think quick. The stuff is curing as we speak, right? Okay. Okay. Clean up the sides. Now, how I even this out is I do that same method, that rocking, right? So I'm going to press, moving this way, and then moving back, and then press, moving this way again. Okay? And then I'm going to push forward just lightly, like feathering. And then shape. Okay? Now I'm going to do the 3rd bead, and that's the free edge. Okay, that's a little bit of a wet bead, but I don't really need a whole lot of product here. I'm going to press down. All right. Now, with the free edge on these assignments, you do have some freedom here. You can stay within these borders or you can square that nail off. So let me push this forward, right, beyond that border. Now I can just square it off, make a nice little square. You don't want it to cliff too much, so just, you know, lightly tap. All right. Now I'm going to dip my brush back in monomer. I'm going to wipe it off. Wipe, 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 wipe. I'm constantly cleaning and wiping my brush all the time. This is preserving that brush. Monomer is your best friend. It keeps, helps you a lot. Okay, so as this is polymerizing and drying, again, look at the side view here. Okay, look at that side view. Look at that. Now you can see there's a little cliff right here. Let me get a better pointer. There's a little cliff right here that I created. You know, you can press and kind of smooth that out a little bit if it hasn't gotten too hard. But you know, it just rises up and goes straight out. Okay, just nice gentle rise, nice smooth, no bumps, no gaps. Okay. So this is what we're looking for, and have fun with this. This is not to be like, oh gosh, I got to stress and get this assignment over with. This is the most important assignment. If you can do this one good, you'll be good. All right, so this is for the 3 bead practice consistency sheet. For some of my students, they want to understand how this silly exercise actually translates over to the tips. So I'm going to continue on with my next video, so stay tuned for that link. Thank you.